So hey guys, this is Harsh Agarwal, sophomore in Department of Electrical Engineering, and today we'll be presenting you the concept of Internet of Things, that's IoT. So it is always said like that Internet has really changed our lives, but it's a saying that IoT is gonna change the change our life and the next generation. So let's have an overview of what is IoT. So IoT is a system which has links to computing devices, and it basically ensures machine to machine communication without any human interference. So like if you have some chips and sensors and you want to relay data from them, like they must be collecting some data, and if you want to relay that data and analyze it and get your results, IoT will do that for you. So basically IoT will combine these technologies like pervasive and ubiquitous computing, cloud and fog computing, and along with the sensor networks and the internet protocols that we use for the communication. So let's have a look at how does IoT work.
The Internet of Things is changing much about the world we live in, from the way we drive to how we make purchases, and even how we get energy for our homes. Sophisticated sensors and chips are embedded in the physical things that surround us, each transmitting valuable data that lets us better understand how these things work and work together. But how exactly do all these devices share such large quantities of data? And how do we put that information to work? Whether we're improving the production of a factory, giving city residents real-time updates on where to park, or monitoring our personal health, it's the common Internet of Things platform that brings this diverse information together and provides the common language for the devices and apps to communicate with each other. The process starts with the devices themselves, which securely communicate with an Internet of Things platform. This platform integrates the data from many devices and applies analytics to share the most valuable data with applications that address industry-specific needs. Let's start with a simple example, a car. After taking a long road trip, Rebecca notices that her check engine light has come on. She knows that she needs to have her car looked at by a mechanic, but is not sure whether it's something minor or something that needs immediate attention. As it turns out, the sensor that triggered Rebecca's check engine light monitors the pressure in her brake line. This sensor is one of many monitoring processes throughout the car, which are constantly communicating with each other. A component in the car called the diagnostic bus gathers the data from all these sensors, then passes it to a gateway in the car. The gateway integrates and sorts the data from the sensors. This way, only the most relevant diagnostic information will be transmitted to the manufacturer's platform. But before sending this organized data, the car's gateway and platform must first register with each other and confirm a secure communication. The platform is constantly gathering and storing thousands of bits of information from Rebecca's car and hundreds of thousands of cars like hers, building an historical record in a secure database. The manufacturer has added rules and logic to the platform. So when Rebecca's car sends a signal that her brake fluid has dropped below a recommended level, the platform triggers an alert in her car. The manufacturer also uses the platform to create and manage applications that solve specific issues. In this case, the manufacturer can deploy an application on the platform called the Asset Management System. This application oversees all of their customers' cars on the road, as well as all the parts in their warehouses. It uses the data from Rebecca's car to offer her a potential appointment time to service her car, directions to the nearest certified dealer, and a coupon for the service. What's more, the app will ensure that Rebecca's brakes are covered under her warranty, that the correct replacement part is ordered, and then sent to the dealership so it is ready when she arrives. But the manufacturer's analysis does not stop there. They have also deployed a continuous engineering application that tracks not only Rebecca's car, but hundreds of thousands of others, looking for ways to improve the design and manufacturing process of the car itself. If the same problem in her brake line crops up in a critical number of other cars, the manufacturer uses applications custom built for the automobile industry to pinpoint the exact problem. They can see if these cars were made at the same factory, used the same parts, or came off the assembly line on the same day. So what do all these pieces add up to? Streamlined inventory management for the dealer, a better, safer car from the manufacturer. And for Rebecca, it means she can be back on the road faster and get to where she's going safely. All thanks to the Internet of Things.
Okay, so this video basically gave an insight into the architecture of IoT. So the Internet of Things has basically a layered architecture. There is a layer at each level. There are some protocols and computing systems that do their job so that the system works smoothly. So like Internet of Things is basically a very simple concept. Like you can take the all the sensors and the chips, and you can connect them with each other to the through the internet. Uh, the layered architecture is of two types: the three-layered and the five-layered architecture. So like the sensors, relating to that video, the sensors in the cars that were used for fuel checks and for checking that any component is malfunctioning, these sensors do the work. The data from these sensors is then transferred to the network layer. So what the network layer will do, it will process this data and then transfer it to the application layer that has the specific services that we need. So this data is transferred through the protocols like that we use in a common life, like GSM, RFID, 3G, and Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. So using these protocols and technologies, data is communicated from the perception layer to the application layer. Then in the application layer, the relevant data is taken and the operations are performed on it, so that we get a graph, or like we get an analysis of what is wrong and what has to be done. So these three layers will form the crux of the IoT system. Next, we have the five-layered architecture. In the five-layered architecture, it is an enhanced architecture of the three-layered system. We are adding two more layers, that is the business layer and the middleware layer. So the application layer is now split into two parts: the application layer itself and the middleware layer. The layer will store data and then process it, so that the work on application layer is reduced and it can give a graphical representation of it. And next, the business layer, it will give specific services. So like we saw, it had an asset management system. The warehouse had an asset management system in the video, so that will come under the business layer. The sensors and the physical objects will come under the perception layer. The protocols that the sensors were using to transfer the data to the gateway system would be the network layer, and the middleware layer would be the data analysis part, where the data from the sensors is processed and useful information is taken, which would be then sent to the application and business layers that would deliver the specific commands that we need, specific services that we need for the system. So these come in the system management part and the application part, whereas the middleware and the network layer come for data processing and communication, and for the perception layer comes into picture for data collection. The big data collection that we see for IoT happens in the perception layer. So like over to Harshit.
Hello guys, I am Harshit and I will be telling you about Raspberry Pi. IoT is further divided into two branches. You can say one of the main part is Arduino and the other one is Raspberry Pi. Arduino has already been told to you in the other session, so we will focus on Raspberry Pi. Harsh, next slide. Harsh.
Next slide here.
So Raspberry Pi is a smallest computer. You can say it's of size like a credit card, and its dimensions are 9 into 5.5. It basically works on Python language, and the most interesting part is you can integrate OpenCV with it. Sorry for the interruption. So I was saying we can integrate OpenCV with it, and just a second. Hello.
You're audible.
Yeah. So I was telling that we can integrate OpenCV with it, and we can make gesture controlled home automation systems. Also, it includes Wi-Fi, which allows wireless connections, and camera module can be used for image processing task, which is also a main feature for from OpenCV. So the parts of Raspberry Pi, it usually contains like GPIO. These are the main pins which are equivalent to Arduino pins. It contains display interface which can be used to connect a screen LED display. It has a micro SD slot, HDMI, USB networks, and a micro USB power cable. And also there is a Ethernet port which can be used to connect Ethernet cables, and we can run internet over it. So this is a basic diagram. Here, all the GPIO pins are explained. Next slide. Nothing to speak about it. So now I will be telling about the uses. It is basically used in main uses for home automations. We you can use sensors to make light on off by computer or phone. Like we are also planning to make for gesture controlled. Okay. This is a miniature cam recorder. This is you have to solder all the parts, and once done, you can install Hyperpixel driver on Pi, and it is all set to record. Motion capture security camera. It is you will need a camera module, like I was telling. The camera module interface is there for this particular task. It can be used as a great security system. The main drawback is you need a high storage device for this. Now we will be telling about the projects.
So this was a project that we did. This is basically a blind assist. So what this device does is it will help the blind people to undertake the task in their daily life. We have used Arduino, HRC SR04 sensor, and a GSM module. So and the normal circuit things that are the battery and plug and earplug. So what this like a blind assist will do, firstly, the wireless HRC SR04 sensor, that is a ultrasonic sensor, it is set at the blind spot between the two eyes. So if a person or an obstacle is coming in front of it, it would relay that data to the Arduino microcontroller. So basically, you can set the range of this device. So if we want like a blind radius of 5 meters, so if a person comes within that range, this will send the data to the Arduino controller, and through this Arduino microcontroller, we can input the code, and then we can set it for different ranges like 5 meters, 10 meters. So, and if a user is in emergency, so it would press this emergency control button, and using a SIM card, which would be in this GSM module, a message would be sent to the important contacts of the person that there is an emergency situation. Also, when an obstacle or a person is within the range of the HRC SR04 sensor, it would be relayed to the user through this plug. So this was a prototype that we had made through SolidWorks CAD, and we also made the real version of this. Over to Harshit.
So in this video, you are going to see RFID RC522 module. It has a RFID reader and a card. So in this, I have actually tried to show you, once the card is in range, the reader, it shows the key. Like it is basically used for attendance system verification or any identification systems. And I have tried to show you here, there are two Python files. One of them is going to show you the read. It is going to read the card, and the other one is going to write over it. Harsh, please play it.
So this was the OLED screen that we used to display the results from this.
A good example of RFID could also be found when like you heard of like those FASTag cards which are like on your or people having car would have installed that FASTag cards. They are also based on the RFID sensing only. So like good IoT has real life examples as well. Like many
Also, in the library of IIT Jodhpur, we are using these RFID cards for book borrowing and returning the book. So that is a life example of IoT that you can see in your college once you come to the campus. So this is the main feature, like application of area of IoT, that is home automation, or you can say it's smart home. Harshit?
Slide change. Anyway. So okay, in this project, I have tried to make a GUI from Tincter. Actually, we can make the GUI from Kiwi also, but here I've used Tincter. And in this video, you are going to see like on switching on. Here I used a relay module, which which can control 220 voltage supply and can serve the purpose for our home automation part. Run the video.
I think we can play it once more. So this was the switching part that he did. Like, did you see when he switched on the LED glowed? This was a smart irrigation project that was undertaken by Garvit. Garvit, can you please explain more?
Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. So ये कैसे मतलब ये ऑटोमेटिक प्लांट्स को या ट्रीज में भी लगाया जा सकता है. ऑटोमेटिक वाटरिंग ऑफ प्लांट कैपेबल है. जैसे सॉइल में मॉइस्चर लो होता है तो ये पाइप ऑन मोटर ऑन कर देता है जिससे पानी फ्लो हो सकता है. वो इस साथ ही साथ इसमें फील्ड का टेम्परेचर का डाटा या फिर मॉइस्चर सॉइल का वो सब एक ऐप पे भी अपलोड होता है. तो जब मोटर ऑन हो रही होती है, जैसे ऑटोमेटिकली मोटर ऑन कर रहा होता है, तो इसका डाटा मोबाइल पे भी आ सकता है, जैसे ऐप पे आ रहा है अभी लैपटॉप में. फर्स्ट वीडियो प्ले कर देते हैं.
So like the data from the sensor that was relayed, you can see the graphs were made of this, and it was shown here, the colors of that. These were the readings of the sensor. Garvit?
So this is the circuit diagram of automatic irrigation project. The moisture sensor takes reading and send it to node MCU. The node MCU is the central processing unit. It is ये है जो ऐप पे डाटा भेजता है सारे सेंसर से कलेक्ट करके. और एक ये जो ब्लू कलर का मॉड्यूल है वो रिले है, मतलब रिले बेसिकली आ स्विच जो नोड एमसी से रीडिंग लेके मोटर को ऑन या ऑफ करता है। हर्ष प्लीज गो टू नेक्स्ट। तो ये भी मतलब मैंने अपने फर्स्ट ईयर में बनाया था। ये एक फिंगर प्रिंट अटेंडेंस सिस्टम है। ये हम अपने वेयर हाउस इन्वेंट्री रूम STS साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी STS रूम में लगाने वाले थे, पर कोरोना वायरस के कारण लगा नहीं पाए। तो इसमें दो फंक्शनैलिटी है, कीबोर्ड से भी इनपुट दे सकते हैं और फिंगर प्रिंट से भी दे सकते हैं। इसमें एनरोल का भी ऑप्शन है, पासवर्ड सेट भी कर सकते हैं। फर्स्ट वीडियो चला गया।
So these were the projects that we undertook last year. So like IoT has like a lot of applications. Like you can for smart, like in home automation, like you can use you must have seen there now there's a technology that you can moderate the AC temperature when even when you're not in your home. So like you just have to download an app. You have to give the command from that app, and it will set the temperature to the desired level. Also, you can nowadays temperature sensors are being used to set the temperature that would be the best suited for the day. So like smart home has a lot of applications in this process, this area. Also in smart grid, the grid is basically you must have seen when you are going towards the highway, the grids, those grids are power grids that are used for supplying electricity. So using sensors and physical objects like sensors and actuators, you can prevent the faults that occur in these grids, and those can be you can know about them, and you can have more data about them so that the fault is fixed at the earliest, so preventing any disruption in the electrical supply. Also, like wearables, you all must have seen the sports watch that comes nowadays. So what if you have seen it? So at the base there are two sensors that are used to take data of your pulses and your pulse and your calories, and like your pulse and your heart rate, and through that your steps, your calories consumed, and everything is calculated. Also the fingerprint sensors that you are like readers you are seeing in your phones and laptops, those are all wearable devices. Like you can nowadays like the glucometer that is for measuring the blood sugar level, that is also a wearable device for like for IoT. And the so similarly the wearables, and there is a lot of applications in the healthcare field. Smart agriculture, as you saw, Garvez had done a project on smart irrigation that would help, like really help the farmers. Like they'll have a data, and like they'll have to just see an app and see where the water is less and how can you produce, so optimize the water usage also. And again, then the smart cities. So the combination of all these things would then make a smart city. Like if you use it in your infrastructural buildings to detect cracks and any structural defaults. So that can also be like an application of IoT, which would encompass all the 4 fields that are mentioned previously, and this would make a smart city. So like these were the future prospects that we expect from this. So we have implemented a leveling system in the robotics club for the first time, and this is the leveling system for the Department of IoT. So these are the levels that we have set. So the initial levels are really trivial, like you can just pass them in a week or so. And after that, these are the levels for, like, you can learn Node MCU and Arduino that were covered in the last session. So these are the basic microcontrollers that are used in IoT, and implement uh, a project like I did on like the blind assist. I used Arduino in that. So a similar project can be done by you using either a circuit simulator or you can purchase the Arduino. It is freely available on all the e-commerce websites. And for that, you will need to download an Arduino software that is there for writing the code, and then you have to just plug the USB in the Arduino and transfer that data. So like this is, you can implement a really easy circuit using Arduino and Node MCU. For level 2, we thought that it would be good if you get familiar with the layered architecture of IoT and all the protocols like the BLE protocol, the Bixby protocol, GSM, Wi-Fi. So these are the communication protocols that were in the network layer, and it would like really be helpful for you if you get an insight into it and get to know about how the whole IoT system works through its layered architecture. Next level we thought would be the Raspberry Pi, like learn the Raspberry Pi. So Raspberry Pi is basically a small computer, as we mentioned it earlier, and using combining it with an OLED screen and the Raspberry Pi, you can implement projects that were that we have done, or you can float a new idea on the Discord channel, and we would be ready to help you if you have any problems with that. Level 4 would be to study colossal fields like home automation, smart home, smart grid, as mentioned earlier, and wearable devices. And also, like in your curriculum, there is a specialization called AIoT, like artificial intelligence of things. So that encompasses using deep learning and machine learning, deep neural networks, to analyze the big data that is collected from the IoT in the perception layer, and then further analyze it and enhance it so that it can be implemented and you can derive useful results through it in the application layer. One idea that we would like you to work on, like we are floating this as a future project, would be an idea for a gesture sensor light on off. It is similar to the one that was displayed previously, using gesture control. So here you will have to use like neural networks and stuff so that you can take data from
I was telling about, we can integrate OpenCV into Raspberry Pi. So Raspberry Pi can be used here. Like there are already models in the OpenCV modules. So you can directly use them to, like, you did some gesture and it will notice what was a gesture and it will turn on the light for you. Like everything stuff was integrated into it. Like camera was used for image processing, and that image was given to OpenCV module, which would further make what we want, like it will turn on the light or anything else.
Also, a disadvantage of like IoT is like it is resource constrained. You cannot it will not have the power that is like, it will not have the features that we have of a computer. So hence the layered architecture is implemented so that there is the load is less on the actuators and sensors that are physical objects present, because they won't be connected to a battery or thing. They have very limited power and computing resources. So the computation that is required for the big data analysis and for implementing neural networks, they are not capable of it, and hence a layered architecture has to be implemented. So that and in the video, if you must have noticed, the speaker talked about a protocol that was used that will confirm that the data that is coming from a device, it is it is the same device that we need. So this would prevent any security threats or hacks, because in IoT, since the actuators and sensors have less computing resources, it is vulnerable to attacks. So I can just simply introduce a node in the system, and then it would just replicate the other nodes that are the physical actuators that are present. And just by doing that, I can jeopardize the whole system. And to prevent this, different protocols are used so that the data is encoded and then decoded in the subsequent layers during communication. So this is the importance of layered architecture, because like you saw, sensors were used in your car. If I hack the system, I can cause a car crash. And similarly, these sensors are used in airplanes and stuff. So you can realize how big an attack can be, and it can jeopardize many things. Hence, it is really important that the data that is getting transferred through the subsequent layers is encoded and then decoded at the layer at which it is sent. So yeah, that should be safe. So this was just an insight into IoT. Later we'll be conducting sessions on the data security in IoT and other protocols that can be integrated with it. If you have any questions, you can unmute, or you can just ask them in your chat box. If you have any questions relating to the Revling system or the projects that were implemented by us, you can ask them now. It is open. The session is open for discussion.
Harsh, there are doubts in chat. First one is, why do we need AC when not at home?
You don't need AC when you're not at home, but when you are at home, you need AC. So using the app, it will program it, and when you are at home, you'll have a pleasant temperature. So that is only for comfort. Can we make a single device which can work both as a AC and heater? No need of these two separately. Harshit, would you like to answer it?
I guess the mechanism for AC is completely different. Like if we are looking at thermodynamically approach, AC takes the heat and while heater is giving out. So I guess it cannot be implemented in one device. What do you say?
Like, okay. So moving on to this was kind of not relevant. So what was the difference between AI and IoT? So like AI is basically like artificial intelligence is involving all your deep neural networks and neural networks for analyzing the data. Like it would go towards it, and IoT is the part where you'll collect the data. So IoT basically works on the sensors and the actuator parts that are present in the different locations, and those sensors would provide the data. So and AI, using AI, we can process that data and like derive useful information and implement the business model or the model that we want in the application layer through the application layer.
And also, I would like to add, in AI, we are actually trying to make a machine behave as a human. While in IoT, we are just transferring data, and there's no such like machine is talking to machine. It is not
Also
acting
not
like
transferring,
human.
also collecting. So what IoT does is
Uh,
it would set up a communication between two machines without any human interaction in it. So two sensors located in different parts of the room can relay data to a central gateway, and that can be processed. They can also communicate within themselves, but that is inhibited because it makes the whole system more vulnerable to attacks, and hence all the sensors are then and actuators are connected to a central gateway, and then the communication takes place. So we do not need a human to connect it and then communicate between two machines. They can do it on their own. Raspberry Pi is a small computer. It is not a programming language. Raspberry Pi uses Python for like you have to use Python for writing the code for Raspberry Pi. Harshit can elaborate on it.
yeah. So Raspberry Pi is like a microcontroller, and it is a microcontroller. Basically, it is for collecting your data, and what you have to do. It has all stuff: GPU, and RAM. So it is like you collect the data and you perform the operation through it. and it is coded in Python language. It is more of a hardware thing. No, we cannot use C++. Harsh, for level 1, which circuits can we make?
For level 1, you can implement, and like you can the suggestion would be like you can directly move on to fields like home automation, or simply you can make using like a simple circuit like what we made using Arduino, and switching off an LED light using that, or uh, and probably using Arduino you can just like what we implemented a code, so you can select any one of the sensors that you any field that would you like. So I selected an HRC SR04 for ultrasonic waves, and so that I can detect obstacles. So yeah, you can select any of the field, and just to integrate that these machines together you need Arduino, so that you can input the code in that, and your circuit will run fine according to that code. So you can either choose from our projects that we have done, you can implement them further, or you can implement the project that we have proposed. Like you can work towards it using gesture control for switching and switching off lights.
So Arduino and Raspberry Pi. Arduino is more of a hardware stuff, like it controls the hardware applications, while Raspberry Pi can also control the software application. Like I was telling, it is more of like a computer. So those tasks can be performed, and also Raspberry Pi is mostly used. It can be used for hacking stuff. Like it is a small computer, you can carry it anywhere, and usually it is used also. And IoT is used for data.
An interesting application of Raspberry Pi, if you see, is like blockchain mining. If you have seen, like you could even mine blockchain. You will even mine cryptocurrency using a Raspberry Pi. Do you know, guys? It's that much.
Cryptocurrency and blockchain all goes to the stuff that we are listening about, bitcoins, trading bitcoins and stuff. So that you can use IoT and blockchain to
Like,
combine it. So like most of the solutions that we need for uh, IoT to prevent the like to enhance it and prevent it from attacks are coming through blockchain nowadays. So yeah, Raspberry, it would be a nice solution.
बिटकॉइन माइनिंग के लिए हैश रेट आर्डिनो की इतनी सफिशिएंट थोड़ी ना है मतलब
ah,
वो रास्पबेरी पाई की
I'm not saying it's like efficient. I'm saying it could be used. I'm not saying it's efficient.
and I was asking that what would be preferable whether I should use Raspberry Pi for home automation or I should go for Alexa Echo Dot.
Or what? What? Can you please repeat?
I want to do home automation.
Yeah. So what you're giving the other option?
Alexa Echo Dot or Raspberry Pi. Means I will boot Alexa BIOS in that Arduino like, Raspberry Pi. Arduino or Raspberry Pi.
So so I would say Raspberry Pi is used like it is more of software type. Like you have to do some coding. Like if this happen, then that should happen. So it should be in a software control version. Like in hardware, you can also do, but it would be hard to do, and it would require more resources.
Yeah, thank you.
Manav, could you please paste the Discord link for the robotic server in IoT in the chat?
Guys, you could check your email. Like today, only in every email there is a PS for joining Discord link, Discord server. You could check the emails, or else I will paste it here.
Should we explain the leveling system again? I see there are some doubts.
regarding leveling system. Harshit, would you like to go ahead?
So okay, in level 1 we are thinking if we are able to make any circuit, since we are in online mode, so we would say on circuit simulator it would be good if you can make. We will provide you the link for the simulators. Then you can use any circuit, anything you wish for. There are many nowadays. Remote control car, gesture control card, and many other stuff. Then there is layered RTI. Then level 2 is more of theory based. Level 3 we are supposed to learn about the Raspberry Pi, and we have to implement in the projects for like home automation projects, and that would be level 4. Like level 3 and level 4 will be combined together. If you are learning Raspberry Pi, it would be better to go with projects, and you will learn that automatically, and you will complete level 3 and level 4 eventually. This leveling system.
So what you'll have to do is you have to implement this, either send a video or and the code to us, and then we'll analyze it, and then you'll be promoted based on the project that you've implemented. You'll be promoted to the next level, and you'll be getting the resources and the projects that you can do in that level. So we'll be using a form, or like the further details regarding how you have to send your submissions would be relayed to you on the Discord channel itself for IoT and for robotic system as like club as a whole. It would be the same feature for everyone, for every department.